There's some interesting things going on in the streaming world right now, including the rise of new streaming platforms, which generally more options can lead to a net positive for consumers in live streaming, you, me, and anyone who's interested in streaming. However, as is the case with any thriving business, there emerges the magical world of scams. I'm not saying this platform that we're about to talk about is officially a scam, but I am going to say that it does not currently pass the vibe check. Let's get into it. I'm going to introduce you to a platform called LiveSpace, but I want you to be able to make your own informed decisions about it. So I'm not going to just feed you my opinion. I'm going to walk you through the process that I went through to find information and then tell you my analysis on it and my assumptions on it based on that information and give you the resources for you to look at it yourself and make your own decisions. So let me walk you through the process. Here's where I got information on them, and this is where it got a little bit odd right from the beginning. I found it very difficult to actually find information on LiveSpace. Now, it is brand new and I believe it's just in beta. However, very little information, and the information I did find was not pointing in a good direction. Come with me. Oh, why am I typing before you can see? Come with me. Don't look at all my Assassin's Creed Googles. That's not your business. Excuse me. LiveSpace. I've not clicked on any links in this specific browser, so we're gonna be able to see organically what comes up. We're on a mission to connect the world. Dare to be different. That sounds like that's probably a slogan for somewhere else. I just Googled it and it doesn't appear to be, so it seems to be used, but not used by anyone in their industry. So, all right, this doesn't sound bad at all. This actually sounds really cool. General works, right? Creators and sign up. Here's the first thing where I was like, attention to detail, please. Right here. Because I looked here, LiveSpace Media. So I was looking down here because I was trying to see if they were owned by anyone. I will be coming out with a video very soon about my analysis process and going over the different streaming platforms. That's how I ended up researching this in the first place, based on a friend telling me about it. And then I was talking with another friend about it, and questions just started to pop up in my brain. Things didn't really fit. The process that I use is an analysis process I learned in an MBA program. I go through and I ask why until I get to the center of the business Tootsie Roll, if you will. I was looking for who owns this platform. And you may say, Mad, why in the world would that matter? Just get to the point, get to the good stuff, because it does matter. What do we say about Twitch all the time? Amazon owns it. Who owns Facebook Gaming? Meta. Who owns YouTube? Google. Who owns Trovo? The evil empire. Who owns DLive? BitTorrent. Did I forget Kick? They're owned by Stake, right? When you look at all of the different streaming platforms, someone owns them, and it's usually some giant tech company. Why is that, you may ask? Well, because running a streaming platform is excessively expensive. The barriers to entry are immense. Pretty much every major streaming platform is owned by another business. Even Mixer went out of business, which was owned by Microsoft. These are very difficult to monetize and very difficult to keep costs low on. Let's look at this. 2022 LiveSpace Media Inc. So I wanted to know, who is LiveSpace Media Inc. and why did they not update their copyright on their page? I know it's a small detail, but attention to detail is important, and I will go through how they don't have any, it appears, when it comes to market research and how they might run this company. Let's just pop around their website. For creators, still a lot of generic stuff, nothing bad. A next-gen live streaming platform. So what constitutes next-gen? They clearly are trying to differentiate themselves from Twitch. There's a complaint generally about Twitch that is pretty well known, that discoverability isn't good. They're clearly leaning on that known reputation about Twitch. Get discovered. 85% revenue split. No more 50-50 split. Enjoy a simple 15% platform fee for everyone. Awesome. We love that. More money. Yay! Daily bank payouts. More often the money. Yay! No minimum threshold. Start monetizing right away with no minimum requirements to qualify. More money faster and sooner. Yay! Post exclusive content. Earn subscribers and engage top fans with exclusive content. So this seems like something that kind of plays on the memberships that are being added to some platforms, like the popular merch website for a lot of streamers and creators in general, Fourth Wall. And then there's also, of course, Patreon, Banhouse, which is leaving the space and merging. We have a lot of websites that are popping up for memberships so that people can have more access and different access to the influencers, creators that they enjoy. That seems to be a popular thing. Even Twitch seems to be potentially getting in on it to some degree with recent changes, like stories and such. Streaming, go live anytime from your link. Sounds normal. Posting, we're social, like you engage with your followers even while offline. Again, that's something that it sounds like Twitch is starting to delve into. It's something that some of the other streaming platforms do better than Twitch. So it seems to be going going the social media route. I have thoughts about this and we'll get there, but just keep that in mind. Co-hosting, go live with a friend and start a talk show or podcast. Again, they are coming after Twitch heavily. You can see it in their wording throughout as we go through this. This is trying to compete with guest star on Twitch, which is something that Twitch has been pushing significantly. Insights, pretty standard. The latest innovation in streaming tech, next gen SRT and WebRTC video technology delivered on the world's fastest edge network means ultra high quality, low latency streaming, whether you're at home or adventuring outdoors. I'm not a tech expert. If somebody is, please feel free to venture into my comment section. Here's what I know from a business perspective, not from a tech perspective, okay? We are talking about competing with some of the largest companies that exist on Earth. We're talking Google, Amazon, Tencent, Meta. Really think about it for a moment. Do you really think that those companies wouldn't have access to or knowledge of the most effective technology for their business and the best access to and the ability to, I don't know, acquire a company that has that? Some of the most powerful entities that exist on Earth. Why would they not have this thing that this tiny little startup with 12 employees, how do they have the magic answers? There's only one good answer that I can think of, and that's that it's not scalable. These companies are operating at a level that is higher than anyone who would be just starting up. Somebody just starting in the industry doesn't have as much need for huge scalability at the very beginning. Now, of course, there are different business use cases. I think DLive also has a different sort of structure for theirs, but DLive is owned by BitTorrent, which is a whole other story. Again, tech experts, feel free to go in the comments, but to me, this is suspicious. It sounds like a magical advantage. I could be wrong. I wanted to present the information and what I'm seeing from a business perspective. Just take note of that and we'll move along. Build your online community. These all sound like everything from above and it's pretty standard all across the board. What will you create? Choose how to connect, stream right from your browser, which is interesting. No software needed. That seems like a positive for them, that differentiator. A lot of gaming streamers may start on their consoles. I know I did. That's the only reason I even found streaming was because I just saw broadcast from my PlayStation 4 and I was like, that sounds fun. I don't know what it is, but let's see if anybody wants to hang out. Maybe you watch streamers. I didn't. I was a weirdo and I just stumbled into streaming. But for those who maybe watch streamers and they're like, oh my God, how do I get into streaming? And then they get overwhelmed because they're like, oh, I have to have another thing on my computer and then connect it. That sounds like a lot of work. It's kind of cool. It's taking away some of the barriers for creators. Just gonna let that sit for a minute. I'm just gonna upgrade for more. The first thing that we look for as creators to say, hey, this might be a scam. If they ask you to pay for anything up front, in all seriousness, I may have a slightly aggressive take and stance on this, and maybe it's not as bad as it looks. So please take it at face value. While it's a red flag in my mind as someone who has studied corporations for a living, it's my own personal bias that is leading to that red flag. What could be the pros and cons for yourself? They're doing that 85% revenue split, which is far superior to Twitch. I'm stressing Twitch for a reason because yes, there are other streaming platforms. Presumably these are monthly fees. It doesn't actually say, but $8 and $13 seems like a monthly fee. If anyone feels differently, feel free to try to prove me wrong. I don't know. It's like $2.30. Serious. Everyone gets unlimited, no minimum payouts, basic channel analytics. That's all standard. 85% revenue split, 726. Hold up. I'm sorry. They're limiting you to 720 on the free plan. And yes, it does look different. Don't try to tell me it doesn't. I want to see everyone's ports. Give me your port. Stream extensions, 30-day stream storage. Okay. Worse than Twitch. I'm pretty sure I have 60 as a dirty affiliate. LiveSpace Plus, advertising free viewing. Okay, so LiveSpace Plus, their first paid plan is $8 a month. Advertising free viewing, which is a viewer perk, not a creator perk. Watch streams up to 4K 60 FPS. Again, viewer perk, not a creator perk. Exclusive member content. Like you get to do the exclusive member content or you're paying for it? I'm confused. Let's look at LiveSpace Pro. All LiveSpace Plus benefits. That's normal. 6 months stream storage. That's a streamer perk. So really confused here. Maybe LiveSpace Plus is just for viewers. Maybe LiveSpace Pro gets you those viewer benefits plus the stream benefits is kind of what I'm assuming. So there isn't an $8 plan to upgrade your stream. There's one $13 plan for streamers. $156 a year, 6 months stream storage. That's good. Look, it's good, but it also could be stressful if you're trying to transfer it somewhere. That only will be like useful once as you set up whatever system you're going to move your storage. It's generally not a huge perk because you're gonna need to come up with a different solution if you actually want to keep your VOD for any significant amount of time. Maybe it helps if you are getting your content out with 6 months and you never care about the VOD again. Your pros and cons list, not mine. Maybe just make it infinite like YouTube. But anyway, external video embedding, cool. More emote slots. I do know some Twitch streamers who would probably pay for this if given the opportunity. Advanced stream plugins, cool. Sounds great. Advanced creator analytics. I wonder what those entail. I would be interested. That's a pro for me. Does it work for you? That's what really matters. Does it work for you? Is it something that you would like? Let's dig further, shall we? Let's click on the sign up. I actually did sign up for their waitlist and I have a question about it. Join the waitlist below and get your invite link. So I didn't read this fully. My friend did, and they were like, you have to invite people to get in. And I was like, what? Because I just like signed up like I do for things. And I was like, oh, I'll get an email if and when they accept me. Didn't really think much about it. If you invite 3 friends, you reserve your username. It's one thing not to let you use the platform and not let you in, but to call it reserving your username, which is something that we need. I get if it's a waitlist for the platform, but to word it that way makes it very clear that they know what that value proposition is and they are selling you on it because having your username is super important. There was a lot of shakeup in the Kick space when people were getting each other's usernames, people who already have a brand and a presence, getting their username on other platforms and getting given that if they actually do have a presence and that name on a competing platform and multiple others. Like, I'm a big proponent of it because trademarks are very expensive and that helps smaller creators who might not have a trademark versus a giant creator who does. They're getting that perk. So to give that to small creators too, when they've already established a brand, it's a win-win for everybody. For those that are trying to steal other people's usernames, like the person who's upset that another person came in and got the name. Okay, it doesn't matter that it's your government name. It matters that they got the name that they've built a brand on. Listen, I could go on and on about that all day, but neither here nor there. They're selling it as reserve your username, not just get in and try our website. And you are trying to convince me to market a platform I am not even on. Makes me want to, make a video. There's probably like a code that I have to invite you with and I'm not doing it. They can't make me. I won't give it to you. Waitlist to me implies that it's not done. It's beta. So moving on, let's just do a little click through and see kind of what they're about, why they made this platform, see if we can form a quality overall perception of what they're trying to do and how that affects you as a creator. So it is in closed beta currently. Here's their vision. Just a lot of filler words, fluff, seamless content creation, audience engagement, monetization opportunities. So that shows a little bit of their focus. I want to dig much deeper than that. Here's where they start to get deeper. LiveSpace has a social feed that allows you to share text, photos, and soon videos with your community and other creators. In the future, creators will be able to make subscriber-only posts, enabling new ways to monetize and engage with their communities offline. And that sounds like some kind of pretty awesome blend of something like Patreon with Instagram and Twitter all together. Honestly, sounds like a great idea. Pin in it. Put a pin. Why we're developing with first-time creators in mind. With, oh, there we go. That's a good one. With first-time creators in mind. And that is interesting considering the fact that they ask for your social link. So here's our first discrepancy between what they're saying and what they're showing. The going live right from browser sounds really cool if it works well. The fact that it's a browser or desktop is interesting. I would wonder how that changes the amount of resources that are being used between your PC and bandwidth and all that kind of stuff. And if it's better than some of the alternatives of using something like OBS, it's interesting when it could be a really large pro for them. For mobile device, if they're offering like a really cool mobile app for those who do IRL streaming, this could be a huge win. Having that integrated straight with the streaming platform could make it a lot simpler for something that is already a lot of complex details on a tiny little device. Could be a win. Simple for new people, better. Advertising outside of video. I wonder what that means. If they're integrating other types of ads, that's something that Twitch should have done a long time ago. YouTube too, honestly, to have different ways of inputting advertising without it being so aggressively video interrupting, because honestly, people are very susceptible to seeing little tiny bits bits of things without realizing it and without like consciously focusing on it. So I'm surprised they don't do it more. They do it in movies. It's like product placement, but it's like the way that your brain subconsciously picks it up. If they're doing something outside of videos or smaller, cool. We are exploring ways for creators to add online stores to their space. This is actually a huge one. If you can have an online store integrated with everything, Fourth Wall has some great integrations with Twitch that a lot of streamers use, but to have an online store in your space and have like basically a fully functioning website for your live stream, which is what it seems like they're kind of going towards, that could actually be super awesome. We're just going to add a little if pin. Don't get too excited. Oh, look, they're even on Threads, so they might not be able to update their copyright, but at least they made it to the newest social media platform. Leveling the paying field. This is just talking about their split. Streaming has been significantly improved on LiveSpace. Again, I don't know how much I buy that. We don't have to go over it again. Less buffering and a shorter delay, stable and enjoyable. I personally have had a pretty good experience on most streaming platforms with not a lot of buffering. I'm not really sure what they're getting at here. So just standard stuff. Let's go to the other two articles just real quick. I feel like they're just trying to look good before they've done anything. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that, but to me, it just feels a little bit like PR stunty. This feels a little bit more reasonable with them wanting to push that they have the ability to sell merch on their site. This is their merch site. Honestly, the merch doesn't look bad. Honestly, their logo is pretty fire. They might not have paid someone to do appropriate market research, which we're getting to, but they did pay a designer for a great logo and a great color. If you look at the color schemes and the logos of all of the other streaming platforms, it actually fits really well into the pool of live streaming platforms in terms of having its own look in the industry. They did a really good job with the logo. The name, LiveSpace, they could have done a lot better. Let me see if they have anything in news other than those stories. Oh, here's one. This is what I need to show you. Here is where I found something, again, attention to details and just the feeling of sus. I doubt with my whole soul that they got Colin and Samir's permission to use this picture. They don't have a little thing underneath that says property of, used by, with permission by. They don't have that. And they also don't even mention Colin and Samir on here. That feels super sus. If you don't know these guys, awesome podcast for creators. Go check them out on YouTube. They're using their content, I guarantee, without permission. I don't see permission granted anywhere on here or mentioned anywhere on here. And if I went onto a website, especially a new creator platform, that I saw my picture being used to promote their platform, I would be like, boop, 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 boop. Hi, lawyer. That's real bad. This is a really strong sign that they don't know what they're doing and they're not going to be doing what they're doing responsibly. If they can use somebody's content that's not even on their platform, do you really think that they wouldn't use your picture and your picture and your picture and my picture and everybody's pictures? I don't like it. There's one last place we need to go on the website, and I almost forgot about it because I don't see it anywhere in their creator page. Why? And I've looked through all the pages generally. All the stuff at the bottom doesn't really have a lot going on, but feel free to look through it if you want more information. Okay, so here is the FAQ. I don't know why they didn't actually put it in the creator space, maybe because they're hiding something, or maybe just oversight. Neither answer is good. Here's where it gets really fun. An 85% revenue split, no more 50-50 like on other platforms. I understand that they're trying to compete with Twitch, but Twitch and Trovo are the only ones that have a 50-50 split. There are multiple other live streaming services, like, oh, I don't know, the one owned by Google called YouTube. I don't know if you've heard of it. They have a 70-30. So it's still better than the 70-30, but for them to just blatantly ignore one of their main competitors, and that's not just coming from my mouth, that's from the horse's mouth. You'll see later that their own founders say that they think, and again, not know and not confidently, but they say they think that their biggest competitors are Twitch and YouTube. Gamers, musicians, podcasters. So you can see that musicians are really important for them. I don't know that there's any platform that I know of that focuses specifically on musicians. If they are really trying to get musicians, if they tried to carve out a space specifically for musicians, that could be a really good niche for a streaming platform. There are a lot of musicians who have moved to online since 2020. As creators ourselves, we know where you decide to build your community is a big decision. And of course, they knew that they were a competitor that is trying to do something different in an already established industry. But for all of your selling points to be comparisons to competition versus actually expressing what value they bring to the consumer if the competition didn't even exist. It's like they've lost their value proposition in a sea of comparing themselves to others. What if all of the other streaming platforms just all disappeared? This is your value proposition? That doesn't doesn't make any sense. They need to be able to stand on their own 2 feet. This is an infantile approach to a mission statement, and it shows probably how they view themselves in the industry and how they will operate in the industry. Do you want to partner with an infant? So we decided to build a new platform with creators' needs in mind every step of the way, from discovery to monetization. Once again, what are the 2 biggest complaints from anyone on Twitch? There's no discovery. I can't get any viewers because there's nothing for me to post anywhere. I hate 50-50. All right, these are the biggest ones. Does LiveSpace cost anything to use? So it's cute that they put this, but they don't mention the fact that some of the standard elements that are in other streaming services, like, I don't know, 1080p, even 4K on YouTube, I don't know, that those are behind payment walls. Yikes. No, why join LiveSpace if I already stream elsewhere? Build a true online community. Honestly, this is their selling point right here. This is what they should be putting up front, because what they've built actually sounds really cool if they focused on that, because this is like a one-stop shop for having basically a website for yourself in a lot of ways. It has your posts, your pictures, your live streaming capabilities, all of that in one place, plus memberships and your merch. This can be an all-in-one solution for a lot of creators, but instead of selling that point, they are, and it's funny that that's in their competition answer versus the actually why did you create it. The coming back to that attention to detail, that the people that are running this don't have a clear grasp of how to run a business, how to market, how to build the right verbiage. If I were an investor, I wouldn't take this seriously because they can't quickly explain what they're about. Tell me why I should invest in your business. If I asked them that and they said, as creators ourselves, we know where you decide to build your community is a big decision, I'd be like, get to the point. That's what they should be selling. Build a true online community. A lot of creators, we have to be in a million different places. There's pros and cons to that, but to have one that has that as their niche could be really powerful for creators, and that's what their selling point should be. All you need to start streaming is a device with a webcam. That's actually really interesting because you don't actually need a webcam to stream on any device. You don't need external microphones or cameras. You could just stream your screen without speaking ever if you really wanted to. I could just be mute showing you all this. That would be not fun, but it would be possible. And same with like just playing a game. There are people who do it. I think I've actually seen one speedrunner who types in the chat rather than having a mic because he just doesn't want to deal with it and doesn't have a camera. He's just speedrunning and showing off his speedruns. I just want to clarify once again that this is not attention to detail. Okay, here's another interesting one. Again, I don't know. I'm not hugely in the know about this specific issue. However, once again, we're going up against the behemoths. I don't know if maybe it's on a variable basis. That means like, once again, not scalable. So maybe they hold blanket licenses for up to a certain amount of people and uses and times. I don't really know how it all works. But once again, why would the basically earth-owning companies not have this ability if this 12-person infantile business has it? I have questions. Just a red flag for me. Really cool. Flag on the play. Seems, can I talk politics? Creators will have the ability to set higher or lower sub prices. Here's an interesting one. One can earn money on LiveSpace right away. There's a reason that the other platforms don't do this, and probably that it costs them like a marginal amount of money to do, and they're probably trying to prevent, people spamming it, bots, anything like that. I'm not exactly sure what goes into play here, but I am absolutely positive that there's a reason that they limit it. Think about why that might be, why the established businesses are doing things, and when it makes sense to pivot and do it a different way. Starting out small and doing things on a different scale does allow for opportunities, but think about the scalability of this. If they're just aiming to get acquired by another platform, by another company, they're going to need to have plans for scalability, or they're not going to be able to get acquired. If they're not aiming to be acquired, there's going to be a cap on this. You may say, oh, but who cares, as long as the people who are on there are having fun. Okay, well, if there is a cap on all of this, all of these advantages that they have, let's say, where are the viewers? Why would they ever stream here when their opportunities are significantly less if these are not scalable? Let's go on to LinkedIn, where the real fun begins. Okay, so here's where I want to get into the meat and potatoes and the candy and the desserts and the, I don't know, whatever else you eat. That's where we're getting into the good stuff. So I kept asking myself, who is LiveSpace Media, Incorporated? LiveSpace Media Incorporated. And trust me, it's important to get that whole thing. I have searched multiple types of their name, and this appears to be what gives us accurate information. This took some doing, okay? Because look at news. This is talking about Asia something in home interior. It doesn't actually have any news, right? Supposedly, but there is. There is indeed. Saw LiveSpace Media Production, and I was like, okay, maybe that's them. Oh, look at that. That's the logo. We're doing great. Employees at LiveSpace. This is where things got interesting. I want to look at what they have on their LinkedIn first, because we're going to go on a whole adventure after this. Their video is actually pretty solid. Whoever they paid to do this did a really good job. Interesting note is just that they posted the Streamer Awards, and they're paying attention to the industry very heavily. You can see that they post a bit about Twitch, how Twitch lost its way. And they say, we love Twitch, but for streamers who are ready for a fresh start. So I just feel like it feels a little bit disingenuous, but I mean, it really could be that they're just like, hey, we love Twitch, but we want to do better. So let's assume that they have the best intentions in mind. The platform killer. Okay. Okay. So most of you may not have heard of this. This isn't the first time that I've seen their name popped up, either Morph or Elevated Media Group. And let's just say that when I saw them the first time, it was a situation that I had to speak out on because it felt like it was going to take advantage of creators. I'm going to leave it at that. This is not somebody who I would personally want representing my brand, especially a professional company that you're trying to compete with the likes of Google. This person isn't super professional. Insane rules. With Twitch needs more competition. Without that, they're free to set whatever insane rules they want. Facebook's time is running short. Yes, they got rid of the gaming app, and I wouldn't say it's the best place for gaming creators, and I have a whole thing on that. But Facebook itself, their time is fine. Meta's not going anywhere. Trovo, even when I'm expressing myself like over dramatically and making jokes, I generally don't use inflammatory language. When I'm talking about the creator space, it feels unprofessional. This whole article feels extremely biased. None of the above channels have a channel point system worth talking about. I think a lot of people really like the channel point system on Twitch and the third-party extensions. I'm sure they would want more. I'm sure there could be better, but to say that that they're not worth talking about is legitimately false. If you're going to make statements like this, you need to be able to back them up. Okay, well, Twitch has actually implemented a lot. When was this written? Okay, they posted this 2 months ago. This is after all of the moderation tools that Twitch has added in the last year. So they have probably the best moderation tools in the industry, if I'm not mistaken. To say this is pretty, have you even been on Twitch recently? And this is also, Kick has made a lot of changes recently, and I think they happened before this 2 months. I wouldn't say they don't even try. Kick is new, added some already, if I'm not mistaken. Just to judge the new platform and say they don't even try, you could say they don't have any at this point in time as a new platform. Again, even when I'm trying to tell you guys my opinion and I say it in a biased language, I try to tell you that I'm saying it in a biased language, notify you that this may be biased, and then also state it as a fact and then my opinion, not just state things as an opinion. So this is a really unprofessionally written article. Things like they don't even try, actually it's worse than that. They've already built a reputation of ignoring literally everything that happens. That's not true at all. I have no skin in the game. I'm not even streaming on Kick. I've tested on Kick. I have friends on Kick, but I have no skin in the game here. They have not built a reputation of ignoring literally everything that happens. They've actually built a reputation of responding to people on Twitter better than Twitch ever has. And they respond to people much faster, both on Twitter, email. Like they're really actually great at connecting with their community and answering and listening. This whole thing is super unprofessional, and to be perfectly honest, wrong. It's one thing for a random creator to say this. It's another thing entirely for a business that is trying to compete in the same space as giants like Amazon and Google to repost something that has a lot of falsehoods and inaccurate information in it. That is just showing how little that they are paying attention to detail and professionalism. And that is a big red flag for me. Are you guys ready for like the real tea? You guys have been waiting for the tea this whole time. The water's been boiling. We steeped it right now. I'm gonna actually give you the warm hot tea right now. The warm hot tea, founder at LiveSpace, recording artist and songwriter. So they did say made by creators for creators. That tracks. So they obviously have some focus on music. Tracks. I'm a person. I don't like this game. My brain is at like 2%. Just let me finish my video. What were we talking about? Doesn't really have a huge portfolio of like, I don't know, building businesses. Doesn't necessarily mean he can't, especially if he has a teammate who can. Nothing necessarily wrong with that, but just know that he's not somebody who has done successful entrepreneurial endeavors that we know of and has mostly seemingly studied music. I already know that this is the other founder because of reasons. So let's just click on him real quick. So he has growth strategy, startup knowledge. Okay. So he's the guy. He's the guy that does the knowledge things. Now, what does he do with these knowledge things, right? This all seems about right. Growth leader, building a global entertainment and technology company, blah, 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 blah. Really good. The logo design was great. He did great on that. The product naming, not so great. I wouldn't give him props for that. Website design, it's fine. Content and other than the, stealing other people's stuff. This is the important part though. Devise LiveSpace Plus. So he's the brains behind the charging you for elements. The first that I heard of this, I actually wasn't mad at it when my friend told me about it. I was like, oh, that could be cool. Like paying for extra items that you want. This explains it actually. LiveSpace Plus for consumers and LiveSpace Pro for streamers. So it does actually explain that business model. They did not communicate that at all whatsoever on their platform, and they need to make that more clear. LiveSpace sees this, know that you need to get that together because that's extremely misleading. Yeah, it says it's under 4 creators, so that's even more misleading. Doesn't say anything at all about it being consumer focused and then creator focused, so they need to fix that immediately. Subscription plans and high value to customers and more immediate revenue for the company than through paid advertising on site. So read that wording carefully. They devised these paid upgrades for more immediate revenue for the company than through paid advertising. So they're making money from their creators. They know exactly what they're doing. So if you thought that they did this for the good of, oh, this will be great for creators, no, they want money. So if you ever doubted when I've said, hey, any company just wants money and everything that they're doing is to get money and that the creator is second to money. If you've ever doubted when I've said that, and I don't think I've even said it in this video yet, here's your evidence. Googling Spencer. Tell me what you see. You see an article, don't you? It wasn't on the news, but there's an article here. Net influencer. Don't really know how prestigious net influencer is. No idea, but they have an article. So let's take a look, shall we? This is how I knew that Todd Nelson was the other founder. When I tell you I did a lot of digging to get to these places, I looked for LiveSpace, Space Inc. to try to find a company that owns them. And as far as I can tell, it is a private, tiny business. Not necessarily anything wrong with that to start with, but Twitch can't even monetize well. And they have AWS. They're getting it at cost. I'm sus. This is an interesting article. I'm going to link everything that I find in the description below. Todd Nelson has the background and passion for marketing. We saw that. Spencer is passionate about music. We saw that. Spencer saw many of his musician and artist friends lose their income overnight. I watched them turn to other platforms, but unless you're already really big, it requires you to bring people from somewhere else. I don't know where he's going with this. I assume he's going with, we're going to make organic discoverability, which is going to be super problematic. This is where it's going to show that he doesn't understand how the creator industry works. Spencer knows that LiveSpace started as a solution. What can we do to build a solution that's 99% for the up and coming creators? Once upon a time, there was a platform called Hover. I participated in Hover to a small degree, met a lot of cool people, overall net benefit for me. But one of the big complaints about Hover was that it was targeting streamers where the consumers. Well, the streamers are also consumers. Cool. But how are they going to get the consumers? Social media is complicated. It died most likely, we don't know for sure, but it died most likely because it is very difficult to build a social media platform and get the consumers to come. You have to make the consuming more valuable to the person coming to your app than creating. That is the key. It is why you see Instagram beginning to hide the buttons for creating things. You used to be able to make stories so much easier. You could just like swipe here, press that. Even seeing your notifications and your messages is harder. Everything is more difficult to see your creator stuff. They want you to scroll. They want you to stay on the platform and scroll and see ads. They profit off of consumers. The creators are the product. If it is free, you are the product. Who is consuming the product? There's a certain amount of the product that can consume the product. That's called a pyramid scheme. No, truly, there's truth to that. But eventually there has to be just consumers who are primarily consumers more than creators. And they want that to always be the balance. More consumers than creators. They don't want everyone to be creators because then the costs go too far up. I don't know, like Twitch. Everybody's a streamer. Costs are up. This is why they limited the affiliate type of multi-streaming stuff. They don't want people like Ninja who are non-affiliates on their platform not making money for them while using their services because it costs them a lot of money. They want more consumers than creators. That's the answer. Just like you, right? You want more consumers than creators. But if everybody wants to be a creator, what happens? What can we do to build a solution for the 99% that are up and coming creators? That value proposition alone shows a huge misunderstanding of the market, because who's going to come to that platform for consuming, especially when they have to pay for some of the stuff that is standard on other platforms? What is their value proposition? I have not heard one value proposition that shows what a consumer will gain, and that is what this boils down to. I could continue going on and on about this article and their strategy. There's only a couple more points that I want to touch on to drive this point home. If you look at other platforms like YouTube and Twitch, which are probably our two biggest competitors, so again, not confident language, you should be sure if you are breaking into a market with the most giant of giants with barriers to entry that are just almost unbreakable, you need to know what your biggest competitors are, period. There's no probably about it. Access to monetization in ways that creators have been locked out of due to high barriers to entry. That's not what the barriers to entry are about. Okay, so they're misunderstanding high barriers to entry. When I read this again, they are legitimately explaining how the barriers to entry are for creators, not for themselves. That's a huge difference. Look, they have a good mission statement. They have a good thought. They're trying to do something good, but they have a complete misunderstanding of how the industry works. They didn't do their market research well. They don't understand how a business works. They don't understand what their actual value proposition is. If I had to explain their elevator statement for this business, their value proposition that they keep selling us on, it is, we're better than the others for creators. That's not a value proposition that is going to get them anywhere in the industry, because they're not going to have anyone to watch the creators. Like TikTok, LiveSpace has become a homepage where live streams are pushed in front of the entire community, which can help musicians and creators get discovered by people who wouldn't otherwise be searching for them. It's one thing to compare yourself to live streaming platforms, because that's a specific value proposition that, while they don't have a super strong handle on, that's what they're focused on. But then they compared themselves to TikTok. And this is where everything's going to come fully full circle, the most circle-y circle that's ever been. TikTok is a very consumer-driven platform. It's why it's become so prevalent in the industry, is that in 2020, when we were all stuck at home, they wanted something to relate to. They wanted a community when they were feeling the most alone they'd ever felt. And they found themselves on places like TikTok, consuming that content and then creating that content sometimes for the first time. And it did this cycle of, when people went back to their normal lives, they continued to consume even if they were no longer doing the TikTok dances. They liked to watch them. They had their favorite creators. TikTok has built itself in a way that is going to be nearly impossible to replicate in a lot of ways, unless you were an already established giant corporation that has a specific use case in mind and multiple types of monetization for it. Also with cost advantages, because you are a giant corporation. To compare themselves to TikTok, their main actual value add would be to be a social media platform that has really good live streaming. So TikTok, Instagram, does Twitter have live streaming, or did they just they used to have live streaming? Either way, they can compare themselves to these social media platforms and things like Patreon, where people could come and have it all. They've got to have consumers that come in and want to go and enjoy that space. And if they're just selling to creators, who's watching? How can you compare yourself to TikTok when your value proposition is live streaming? Live streaming on TikTok and Instagram came about because it was an opportunity to add something onto a platform that had an already established billions of people audience. This is a brand new company that doesn't have that, wants to try to leverage social media elements, sharing posts and pictures and memberships without having an established community. And that's the whole problem. If they don't have a popular live streaming service and they don't have a popular social media service and they're only selling to creators, they are laying a foundation for failure. I don't see this taking off, but if it does, just be very wary of where their mindset is, of how the founders seem to not really understand how to actually do what they want to do. Their mission statement is good. Their implementation is fully flawed. That is is LiveSpace. I am mad curious. I love gaming and business and talking about them. Like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.